Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Sitting here sweating while I'm doing this video, thinking within 24 hours I will be in a cooler climate. Really looking forward to my little trip to the city over the weekend, leaving on the bus at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's all good. It's gonna be fun. Want to talk today a little bit about is the raw vegan lifestyle expensive? I was thinking about this a little bit just for my personal self. I was just thinking about it, how it relates to me is what I'm trying to say, a few days ago, and I started kind of like going down the different things that I eat, the different things I spend my money on, and like comparing this lifestyle to how I lived before. And now, without a doubt, I'll give you the end answer, and then I'll kind of explain it a little bit. For me, no, I would say the raw vegan lifestyle is not expensive. Especially not down here, but it's not all, my advantage isn't all about down here. Some of it, yeah, it is because I live in the tropics, and I know that without a doubt. But I think the same principle that I'm going to talk about will apply to people whether you live in the tropics, or you live in the States, whether you live in Europe, or whether you live wherever you live. One thing I find is when I'm living the simplest form of this raw vegan lifestyle, I feel it's best for me, and I feel it is the less expensive of all of them. You know, the lifestyle can really it depends. You know, we see these recipe videos all the time, and I'm always being, not even just like looking at recipe videos to see, oh, I think that'll taste good. Sometimes I'm watching them from a taste standpoint, and I'm like, ooh, that's really good. Wow, man, I really like that. That's a super, super good recipe. Then I start, my brain switches and I start thinking at it from another aspect, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that is a really good recipe, and that might be something to use every once in a while for special occasions, but you start adding up the ingredients in there, and that's expensive. You see a lot of these, you know, especially when you get into the gourmet. Now, when you get into the gourmet, but in general, you know, you've heard me talk about it before. There's another reason I don't really like those recipes with a long list of ingredients in there, because that jacks the price up more too. You know, a lot of it is not necessarily raw vegan. There's necessary in your diet and there's unnecessary, and only you can figure that out. I mean, I try to think back to when I ate a different lifestyle. I mean, I still had some of the concerns. Now, actually, it's easier for me now. I don't have the choice of going to restaurants or whatever, and I don't have gourmet in my town. So that makes it somewhat easier. No, it makes it a lot easier to keep the price down. I don't have, you know, raw vegan restaurants to tempt me into going. I can see how, you know, overall, but then again, you've got that same concern if you were dealing with just eating whatever, the way I used to eat, where it would be like, okay, I couldn't afford, this town's gotten expensive, I couldn't afford to go out and eat like I used to eat, like fish and what's standard fare around here. So definitely for around here, like raw vegan is not that expensive to do. But even for me, I started thinking about a few tricks and what tends to, you know, if I'm going through a period where I really want to bring my costs down, what are the things? It's usually like little things. It's not usually high ticket items or something that's really expensive that blows your budget. It's doing small things over and over every day, like of the month. Like, for instance, my orange juice. You know, sometimes if I'm getting a little bit tight on money, I have to think like, okay, my orange juice isn't super expensive down here. It's a good price for fresh squeezed orange juice. But if you're talking about 5 bananas versus 32 ounces of orange juice, and actually the 5 bananas probably have just a little bit more calories in there, it blows orange juice out of the water. Like, okay, just for me, five bananas down here is about 50 cents. 32 ounces of orange juice is about $3. So you see where I'm saying it's about cutting expenses, not about cutting huge pieces here and there, but just little by little by little. So, you know, if I'm having that extra orange juice every day, that's adding up. Now, I do allow myself those things. I just like to be aware of it. And I like to know that if I do need to cut my budget a little bit, that I can do it. You know, obviously, and other items too. Like, there's just like lots of little things. I'm just throwing out examples for me. You can probably, you know, go to your own world. Think about things that you use in your recipes or you use in your diet, you eat, that are, kind of a luxury, and others that are necessities. Another one that's kind of a luxury for me, but I don't do it all that much, so I don't worry about that. But like things like mushrooms, portobello mushrooms. If I make a dish, if I make one of my standard dishes that I use mushrooms in, if I use portobellos, the price they are down here with the other ingredients that I use and blah, blah, blah. A lot of times I'm getting up $7, $8 bucks, $9 on that. Now, like I say, not a big deal if I'm doing it, splurging, doing it every once in a while, but it's not something, in other words, I don't want to be using so many ingredients and having that mentality that I'm doing that, I'm leaking money like that on an everyday basis. But I would say, and nuts and seeds are the other one that if you get to eating a lot, you can spend a lot of money on that. I would say probably wherever you are, okay, let me extrapolate and go back to Alabama because I'll be there in a few weeks. Even up there, the simplest is the cheapest. They're not the best quality in the world, but I can get bananas. And I can get in my Walmart, which is the only option I have. Don't go hating because I shop in Walmart. I live in a small town. If I didn't shop in Walmart, I wouldn't be eating very much. But yeah, I can get tons of big bags of greens there. So if I use, say, bananas and greens, that's the point I'm trying to get to here. Like bananas and greens are probably, on a lot of days, they're close to 2/3 of my dietary intake for the day, especially calorie wise. So, the bananas and greens are not expensive. So try to focus on, in your area, the fruits that are local, the fruits that are available to you, the fruits that, the less exotic. Organic. You do organic when you can do organic. You do organic if you can afford organic. Organic is not that big of a deal down here to me if I have it available to me, because the price difference just isn't that big. But I know in the States, you have to watch that. Do the organic whenever you can. On the Dirty Dozen, try to always do the organic. But just do the best that you can, and if you can't afford to eat everything organic, do not stress over that. I'm sorry, but I'd rather just eat my fruits and vegetables that aren't organic as opposed to this processed crap or animal products or other things like that. The superfoods, and the superfoods are kind of the ingredients. I see people doing smoothies, and they have, and I'm forgetting a few words. They have moringa, they have this, they have, and hey, I use my spirulina, so I'm not knocking anybody's one thing, but if you're going to use all these things and all these expensive things in a smoothie, it's going to get up there. So the takeaway on this is, try to find out where, it's not literally fat, but where the fat in your budget is. And I think what you're going to find is everything that is not simple, everything that's not absolutely necessary is where the extra money is going to come in. Try to just build your base on that simple stuff, on the bananas, on what fruits you have available, on the greens, on the simple, and then fill in from there. And one last little one, besides, I mentioned my orange juice, but the juicing too. Like sometimes people see everybody talking about juices, and doing juicing all the time. Now, if you get into the daily juicing, and if you're a big juicer, and if you're going to have lots of fresh green juice in your life, that can get a bit expensive. And I would say at least maybe if you do a lot of juicing, try to figure out something to do with that pulp. Make some crackers, put it in a salad, do whatever, but don't just waste that fiber if you're juicing all the time. But anyhow, just a few things to throw out there, just to kind of get you thinking. Just try to think, if you think this lifestyle is too expensive, just try to look at the things that aren't absolutely necessary that you're doing, that you're taking in. Are you eating out a lot? Are you buying specialty items? Are you in Whole Foods 3 or 4 times a week blowing your paycheck? If you look a little bit and you really plan a little bit, I think you'll find, if you think it's expensive, there's ways you can cut your budget. But anyhow, hope you guys like this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you're almost ready for the weekend too. I'm sweating. Peace.